Hi, my name is Natalie, and I've been teaching and practicing tantric meditations for the past 10 years. And I do private sessions with people who want to do emotional and inner work around issues they have with their sexuality. And I recently opened this channel. I called it Tantra for the Soul. And, one of the main reasons that I even reached the whole world of Tantra is because I was so disappointed from men in bed. Some women are sexual. I think most women are sexual, but some women are more connected to their sexuality and they want to have a good time in bed. I used to choose the right guy. I had emotions for him. I had a good relationship with him. I wanted to have sex with him, but then when we reached bed, when we reached the actual act of having sex, I can't tell you the amount of times I was disappointed. Because he came quickly, he didn't get an erection, the erection came and went. And I'm not even talking about how he functioned physically in bed. It was just like he had no feeling, and the touch was very rough and not nice, and he would move me around like a porn film star or whatever. And I wasn't able to reach that amazing sex that I wanted to experience with a lot of men. And at first I thought it's my fault and I'm doing something wrong. And then I thought, no, it's their fault. They're doing something wrong. And then I realized, well, how are they supposed to know how to have sex properly, which properly means, where you and the woman with you are both having fun. How are you supposed to know that? Like, you're not taught that. No one talks to you about it. In porn movies, the pleasure of the woman is very mechanical and technical, and I don't really think that's how we have sex in real life as women. And I just used to feel so disappointed from sexual encounters, and eventually I realized that modern society is to blame, and the capitalistic view of everything, and they can make money off pills that give you a boner, but they don't have any way of making money from you having good sex. They make money from you having bad sex, and then they'll fix it for you. So we're living in a society that is fixing problems, and because they're making so much money from fixing these problems, they're actually creating problems so that they can fix them and then make more money. I know it sounds sinister and dark, but I feel like that's the truth. I think that as women, we can help men have better sex. But I also realized recently that men are very protective about sex. Like, a lot of men think like, oh, that's our territory. As a woman, don't tell me how to have sex. But you want to have sex with a woman. So wouldn't it make sense that a woman would help you out there and tell you what you can do differently, what you can do better, what I'm feeling, what I need, what I want. I'm not telling you how to build buildings. I'm not telling you how to, run a bank or a business. I'm talking about an experience that we're going to share. And, in Tantra, they say that women are tantric, are naturally tantric. Because our sexual organ is internal, the energy immediately automatically goes up. Men have to practice to be tantric, but we are just tantric as women. So why not take advice from a woman? If you're straight and you want to have sex with women, it would make sense to get advice from women and not from another man or a lesbian woman or a gay guy. If you're straight and you have sex with straight women, it would make sense to get advice from straight women. And it kind of reminds me of a lot of men who come to sessions, and I ask about when was the first time you had sex? And men will tell me their first experience. A lot of them, it was with a prostitute, so they'll be very ashamed about it. But for other men, it was actually with a woman. And then I ask, did she know you were a virgin when you had sex with her for the first time? And they'll say, no, I was so embarrassed and ashamed, I didn't say anything. But then she's going to have a very weird experience with you because she doesn't know you are a virgin. And if she did know you were a virgin, she would be able to treat you appropriately. And then recently I had a guy who did tell the woman the first time he had sex, he came from a religious background, so no sexual encounters, touch, nothing with women. And then he was 23 years old. He lost his virginity with this woman. And he told her, I was religious my whole life. I haven't had sex. I've had different sexual interactions with women, but I've never actually had the penetration of, in the actual sex. And she was very gentle with him, and she taught him things, and they had sex all night. With the other guys that didn't tell the woman it was their first time, they prematurely ejaculated. It was done in a few seconds. They were so embarrassed. They never talked about it again. And it's become a trauma for them, a sexual trauma, even though nothing bad, happened there. But it kind of did. And on one hand, I feel like men are really trying to impress women and conquer women and, get love from women, and they want to be good lovers in bed. But on the other hand, they don't know how to be good lovers. They don't have anyone to teach them, and the only place that they're currently learning from is from porn, and that sucks because that's very unrealistic, and that is not how we want to have sex. And I just recently started watching Outlander. It's a TV show about this woman who goes back to 1743 in Scotland, and there are all these hot Scottish guys there, and she marries one of them, and they have sex, and the first time it's very awkward. She knows he's a virgin, he knows she's not, and he's trying to impress her, and then he ejaculates after a few minutes, and she's disappointed and he's disappointed, and then slowly she starts teaching him from the connection. They talk all night, and he tells her about his life story, and she tells him, and they have this deep, deep, intimate, emotional connection that eventually leads to insane, erotic, mind-blowing sex, which is what we want to experience. And I think that men have a lot of ego there, and the ego prevents you from actually having fun. So I have a big ego, so I'm not going to tell her it's my first time. I have a big ego, so I'm not going to tell her I have an issue with whatever in sex. I have a big ego, so I'm going to try and impress her and perform all these weird stuff that I've seen in porn. I have such a big ego, I'm not going to expose my emotions and my vulnerability, and none of that will actually work if you're with a real woman who needs real emotional connection in order to have mind-blowing sex. And we do. And the sex is amazing. So I think I first started to learn Tantra because I thought something was wrong with me. Then I realized something was wrong with men. Then I realized something was wrong with society. And I healed myself. And my day job is healing sessions with men around their sexuality. So I'm helping men reconnect to their sexual being and energy through Tantra and meditation, and talks about, their emotions. So I think underneath, I'm actually helping to create more tantric men and tantric lovers, because as a woman, that is something that I was missing. As a sexual woman, that was something that I was missing, and it was something that has caused me a lot of frustration in life. And so I'm such a good girl, and I want to teach everyone what I know. So I want to help men become better lovers. Not because, there's something wrong with men, or they don't know how to have sex, or all these weird ego things that men defend themselves with. No, whatever you're doing is fine, but if you want to have sex with me or with a woman like me, maybe there are some things there that you should learn, and maybe there are some things that you're doing wrong, and maybe you can put your ego aside and actually grow and educate yourself and listen to the woman who's talking to you, and maybe let her lead the sexual interaction and let her guide you through how to have sex with her, because with every woman it's very different. But I feel the pain of men, because on one hand, very sad, lonely, don't have relationships, really craving that interaction with the loving female. On the other hand, have such a big ego and so much anger and not willing to learn and not willing to listen. Nothing good is going to happen from that clash of interests. So we need to check ourselves and, be honest and be yeah, I've had sex, but I don't really think I'm that good, or I don't really think that I understand what I need to do there. I don't really get it. And maybe I can learn. And maybe I can ask questions, and maybe I can do different exercises that might sound weird at first, but could actually open me up. And I'm coming from a very loving, caring place. I love men. I'm a straight woman. I want to have sex with men, but I don't, because they're not good lovers in my experience. And I think that's one of the reasons I work with men. I don't actually have sex with men or do sexual things with them, but I help with all the emotional issues and the way I look at it, the way I think at it. What do I do there? What, you know, I help them understand the whole issue from a more mature, loving, and connected perspective. So yeah, I did start practicing tantric practices because I wanted to have better sex, and then I wanted men to be better lovers, and now I think it's for all of us. Like, women can connect to themselves in a more loving way, men too, and the whole dynamic in sex can change, because no, sex is not something that belongs to men, and it's not a manly thing, and it's not a manly subject, and it's not a topic that is for men. It's for everyone. And maybe we need to bring down our ego a little bit in a good way, like a spiritual way, understanding that whatever we thought we knew maybe wasn't right, and maybe there are new things that we can learn. So that's what I wanted to talk about today. Thank you for all the new subscribers. Welcome to my channel. If you like this video, please like, subscribe. I upload these a lot, and I'm going to start uploading like practices, breathing practices and energy practices in my membership area. So please check that out. And thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. I do want to remind you that I do private sessions, emotional, subconscious work, inner work around these issues, and the details are down below. Thank you again, and I'll see you soon.